Hey, yo, lesson here, babe. You come at the king, you best not miss.
Davis?
Well, so, you know, I'm a black woman. I clearly have natural hair. I have to say that when I saw the ad, I was confused. I originally thought, when I'm looking at like 4 different white women in the ad who are complaining about either being a redhead or a blonde, which, you know, I'm not.
Right.
You know, it made me think that maybe this isn't the right product. I mean, just the brand dissonance did not make sense to me. I thought I was mistaken, number one. And then when I figured out that I wasn't mistaken, that it really was your product, the next major question I had in my mind was, who approved this ad? I mean, were there any black women in the room when somebody took a look at this before it was made public?
Yeah. So again, this was a argumentary, if you will, or a documentary, if you will, of a series of over 24 women and their hair stories. And when it came out of, I guess the editing and the cutting, even though we had seen all of the content, we just hadn't seen that sequencing, right? And so that particular sequencing and that particular one got missed. But there's, you know, another dozen of them that is not the case. That is just talking about. So this was not intended to say, hey, the struggles of a woman with red hair is the same as the struggles of a woman with blonde hair, or is the same as the struggles with a woman with 4C hair, right?
It's just really hard for me to imagine a woman with blonde hair having struggles, to be perfectly honest, in a society that privileges that.
Exactly.
But my question is, it seems to me somebody would have to approve this before it was released.
Yeah, so as I said, the series had been approved, but the actual, when it actually got cut up for the small snippet that goes onto social media, that was missed. So nobody saw that, or nobody in our approval process saw that before it hit. And so the thing is about, and again, this wasn't, as I said, to compare struggles or to talk about struggles as much as to talk about need states, right? What do I need for my hair versus what somebody else needs for their hair? But the way that it was executed, I certainly can see how, not I can see it, it's very clear how this conversation would have to occur, because what's really happening is we as a community and black women as a whole have moved this culture forward around hair, right? And what we're really trying to not do is to lose the momentum that we've gained and the accomplishments that we've had around your being able to wear your hair the way that you want to wear it. And we've been fighting that struggle with black women for 25 years. And what we're saying is we're not getting away from that. We're not changing formulas. We make over 150 hair products. I think right now we're over 170 hair products for many different need states. But if we're not allowed to grow, we won't be able to keep innovating. You will end up back. So if you remember, back in the 70s and in the 80s, we had black hair care companies, black-owned hair care companies. They all got bought, right? And they stopped innovating, and all you could find on the shelf were relaxers. Right?
This is tragic, but this is typical of doing business in the black community. Just is. I remember on a hangout, I was telling my subs that a lot of your successful black businesses don't promote themselves as black. So there's a lack of black businesses, a lack of big black businesses. But most big black businesses don't promote themselves as black, just for this particular reason. When you do business in the black community and you depend on black dollars are very fickle, especially if you have a black face leading your company. And the reason it is so fickle, and SheaMoisture has just found that out, is that black women's moods are fickle. Women's moods are fickle, period, but black women in particular. Everybody that works in the black sector that depends on black dollars and black marketing and whatnot knows that if you do not kiss the ring, kiss the hand of black women, and sometimes kiss the ass of black women, they can and will bring down your company. Now, I don't know what SheaMoisture was thinking when they put the black woman's kryptonite on a commercial, which is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman and a redheaded, blue-haired white woman. And then for the trifecta, a curly-haired biracial woman. Man, you should have just dug your own grave and jumped in it. You knew those sisters were going to be hot. You knew they were going to be out for blood. They were screaming like banshees as soon as it hit. If you didn't learn anything, you should have learned from Ricky Smiley's son. And when Malik Smiley just said he wasn't attracted to black women, that's all he said. And the black sisterhood, the Borg mind, the collective, all got together and ganged up on him. And Ricky Smiley had to do what? He had to issue an apology personally and plant his lips firmly on the behind of black women. Because they can and they would have brought down his show because he depends on black dollars and black women's dollars especially. In my last piece, where we were talking about Jesse Williams, Jesse Williams can actually do that. You know, as an aside, he can actually go because even though the sisters are not feeling Jesse Williams, guess what? Jesse Williams has movie star good looks and he's got blue eyes. And there's white women lined up around the block tapping you on the shoulder, asking, can they have your place in line? So how come Jesse Williams can cross over without an issue? In fact, now that he may or may not be tied to the black community, it might shoot his star status up even further. But anyway, I have been connected to the pro-black community for at least 30 years, possibly more. Possibly more. I've sat in on seminars, meetings, help host authors coming in with their books. We used to make the Black Study Group rounds in Los Angeles from from Long Beach to down to Leimert Park, East Side and Compton, all the way damn near to the beach in some places. So I've circulated around and everybody knows that if you're going to make it in a pro-black or for this instance, natural hair arena, that you can and must kiss the hand of a black woman. If you make a faux pas like SheaMoisture did, then you're going to have to firmly plant your lips on the butt of black women in America. And that's what the CEO of SheaMoisture did. You could tell by his tone. He was extremely apologetic. He was extremely nervous because he knows what black women can and will do to his company. It is what it is. I know there's been rumors that the real reason that black women got upset at SheaMoisture is because SheaMoisture changed its formula in one of its products. Said it was watered down. After Bain Capital bought it, they said Bain probably encouraged them to cut corners in their product. Now, I didn't, I don't have the product and I am not a chemist anymore. So I can't tell you how the perceived change in product, if there was one, could play out and how it could affect hair. Now, from what I've read, because there's a couple of good links, I don't know if I'm going to include them. I don't think it's that important. If people really want to find it, they'll find it. But I read a couple of good links from a particular poster on Facebook that has emailed the company and looked at the labels on the bottles from the old one to the new one. And as far as the labels are concerned, there wasn't any change. Now, whether it could be more water, some people, it was all over the place. Most people said it was thicker. So I don't know how you could water down a product and the product gets thicker. And even if there was a change in the product or the formula, that happened almost 2 years ago. Now, if there should have been an uproar about a product change or a formula change, it should have happened almost 2 years ago, which it did not. It didn't play out in 2 years. But all of a sudden, a white woman is on a 1 minute segment, not even a commercial, but a 1 minute segment on social media. And all of a sudden, the company's name is mud. And now black women are using the excuse that there's a formula change. It's bullshit. Okay. Let's call it what it is. We call bullshit on that. We know what it is. We absolutely know what it is. It's your rivalry with Miss Ann, with Becky. In fact, you could hear it in what the lady said on the tape, on the clip, when she was berating basically the CEO. She finds it hard to believe that a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman would have struggles with her hair, with how they are promoted in the media and in this society. Out of all the things she said, she went right to the heart because she was mad, okay? A lot of black women especially speak a lot of truth when they're mad. They don't care about the struggles of the company. They don't care about the struggles of other people's hair. Really, they didn't care that much about the change in formula of the product because the same people that are bitching about it still buy the product. And that lady in particular did not say one thing about a change in formula. She could have addressed it right then and there. She did not. She was still using the product. Now, if the product was that drastic of a change, you would have noticed it immediately. It wouldn't take two white women in a commercial for it to confirm that the formula has changed. Just like in the last piece, it has absolutely nothing to do with the product. It has absolutely nothing to do with the man. In fact, black men are just commodities, so to speak. What you really want is you really want to finally catch up and overtake Miss Ann, Becky, the mistress of the house, because black women always tie this back to the slave experience, where you say because of it always kills me. We were slaves and we were denied our femininity. Really, the most important thing when you're a slave is your femininity. How about your freedom? How about your survival? How about your rights? But to black women, that's not very much. That's not important. If they're promoted, if their hands are kissed, if they're called pretty, the rest of that stuff they can do without. I don't pretend to understand black women in hair. Like the man said, black women are changing this culture around hair. Now, that's one thing about black women that's still a mystery to me. And I probably will go to my grave still wondering exactly what the answer is or what really is the connection between a black woman and her hair. If black women cared as much about politics, their children, and their community and their society as they did about their hair, the Asians and the Jewish and the white people would get a run for their money. We'd have one of the most kick-ass communities on the face of the planet. You have black women. Okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent for a second. I'm going on a rant for just a second. It's not gonna be an epic rant, just for a second. You have black women lined up, firing off posts and Twitters and emails about a freaking hair product. But you can't find none of that, absolutely none of that kind of passion and persistence and tenacity about your children's education and children's future. Black children study the least. They get worse grades. They get worse test scores. They have the worst conditions as far as schools are concerned. They have the worst outcomes as far as schools are concerned. And you are concerned about a freaking hair moisturizer. You are worried about a white woman and how she's promoted over you, but you can't stop and figure out how to build your community. You get out what you put in, ladies. That's all I can say. And I'm going to say it right at the end, and I probably shouldn't cuss, but black women, you have your priorities fucked up. I tell my daughter that all the time. You have your priorities fucked up. I used to tell my daughter's mother that all the time. You care more about what's on top of my daughter's head than you care about what's going on in her head. And black women have two choices. Either they change this perspective, get with the program, or they're going to get left behind because the black men are sick of this shit. We really are. And that's what's going on in the background. Black men aren't saying very much. But I've heard on more than a few occasions when you talk about black women being upset about two white women on a freaking commercial is you got to be fucking kidding. Black women cannot be that shallow and cannot be that screwed up. They just can't be. I cannot believe it. It's a non-fucking story. You should be talking about Donald Trump and what they're trying to do with your health care. And we're talking about SheaMoisture and a fucking commercial. Are you fucking kidding me? Stepping off the soapbox, pushing it back under the bed, bringing the level down, because if I keep going, this will be an epic rant, and I just might be later on, because I am not finished with this, and I'm getting ready to go on a freaking tirade, but I'm not going to do it on this one. I apologize for the explicit language in this particular segment. As they say in the old Baptist church, sometimes when the spirit hits you, you got to move. It is what it is. But it ain't all I got. And if I continue more, it's going to get worse. Because if I get back on that soapbox, I'm bringing the stone tablet, and the hand of Yahweh is getting ready to come down and strike a few black women on top of the freaking head. That's it. I apologize for the salty language. Is what it is. But that's all I got for right now. This is BGS out.